Will from the Anastasia Island Library, and today we're starting a new series called This Day in History. And on this day in history, May 5th, 1961, the first American was launched into space. And that individual is this guy. His name is Alan B. Shepard. He was born in 1923 in New Hampshire. He became an American astronaut, naval aviator, test pilot. As I said, on May 5th, 1961, he became the first American into space, and he's actually the only one of the original Mercury 7 pilot program that eventually walked on the moon in 1971. He attained the rank of Rear Admiral in the U.S. Navy, which is a little bit rare for astronauts to attain a rank as high as that. So, why did the U.S. even want to go to space? On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, which was the first artificial satellite launched into space from Earth. And President Eisenhower and the Americans didn't like this. Now remember, there's a Cold War going on at the time. It's post-World War II. We're well into the throes of the Cold War. And so, who's superior technologically, with governing systems, economic systems? Is the Soviet Union? Is the United States? Well, President Eisenhower was like, if the Soviets can do it, there's no reason why we can't do it either. So we're gonna, put satellites into space. We're gonna launch men into space, and he really is the one that catapults what we call the space race. NASA is formally established on October 1st, 1958. And one of their first missions that comes out of NASA being established is Project Mercury, which was officially announced on December 17th, 1958. And their goal was purely to launch a man into Earth's orbit and then successfully bring him home and then test his body to see how that affected a human. Could we withstand it or could we not? So this is where the Mercury 7 come out. There's a group of 7 astronauts selected to fly for Project Mercury. Now, there were hundreds of applicants from all over the nation, and through various testing processes, whether it's applications, written tests, physicals, psychological tests, varying requirements, they whittled it down to 7 pilots. And these pilots were publicly announced on April 9th, 1959. And these individuals right here are the ones who were selected to be the Project Mercury pilots. So this is the Project Mercury capsule. This is what they're only large enough for one pilot, and this is what they're going to be sent in to be launched into space to make an orbit around the Earth and to come back down. As you can see, it's pretty small. So the United States had never tried to do this before. So they eventually select Shepard to be their pilot, to be the initial, human American launch into space. But his flight kept getting delayed. There was as with anything new, there's different delays in the project because something doesn't work right. As they test it, they're trying to figure out the best way to do it. And in between this time, the Soviets beat the United States again into space. They launched their own man into space on April 12th, 1961. And he becomes the first actual man in space. But a few weeks later, on May 5th, Alan Shepard becomes the second man and the first American into space. And he did that on the Mercury Redstone 3 rocket. So, up top, let me see if I get my cursor here. You can see my cursor. Up top here's the capsule in which Alan Shepard is in. This whole thing underneath is the rocket, to get him enough propulsion to actually reach orbit. He names his actual capsule Freedom 7. He gets that name, the 7, because of the Mercury 7 pilots. It was a 15-minute suborbital flight. Now, this flight was only supposed to launch and last for 15 minutes, and it launched out of here in Florida and Cape Canaveral. However, again, there were delays once he got into the capsule on the launch pad. The creators of his suit didn't think that he would need a way to use the bathroom because it was only supposed to be a short flight. He ended up sitting on the launch pad for 8 hours before he could actually take off. in which time he did have to relieve himself in his suit. So by the time they sent another man into space, they then worked out a way to have some sort of, I guess basically like a diaper built into the spacesuit so they would be able to use the bathroom should something take longer. And that's the short run of what happened, one of the many things that happened today in history. I thought this one was one of the most fun things that happened. If you don't catch us on Facebook, we are going to upload this later on our YouTube channel. Here's all the areas that you can follow us. We would love for you to follow us and to see what else is going on. If you have friends who don't have Facebook, let them know about our YouTube channel so they can catch all these great programs as well. And we will see you all later. Thanks. Bye.